The first time I saw her, she nearly killed me. It was aboard the diplomatic ship Orion's Reach, somewhere in orbit over the neutral planet Cyralis 9. I was the human envoy, freshly assigned to the interspecies cooperation initiative between Earth and the Valari Dominion. She was the commander of the Valari contingent, a tall, sharp-featured alien woman named Kalariv Sharn. Her eyes were a pale lavender, her skin like obsidian silk, and every movement she made was honed with the lethal grace of someone who'd grown up surrounded by conflict. But what stood out the most was the cold disdain she had for me from the moment we were introduced. "I do not work with creatures who burn planets to stake flags," she hissed at me in our first council session. Her voice was venomous. "Earth's history precedes you." I tried to stay diplomatic, brushing off her hostility. "We're here to build trust, Commander, not dig through the bones of our past." She walked out mid-meeting. At first, I chalked it up to Valari pride. Their race had a long memory, centuries of battles, betrayals, and treaties etched into their culture. But even the other Valari delegates seemed puzzled by her contempt toward me specifically. One, a quiet archivist named the Rix, murmured to me after a tense meeting, "She has reasons. Deep ones. Perhaps. Personal." Personal. That didn't make any sense. I had never met her before. Or so I thought. The days turned to weeks. Every attempt I made to extend an olive branch was met with withering silence or biting sarcasm. In briefings, she'd ignore my suggestions until someone else echoed them. In strategy sessions, she'd twist my words or accuse me of hidden motives. The tension between us infected the entire crew. Yet beneath all that hatred, I noticed something odd. She never tried to sabotage the mission. In fact, she worked harder than anyone to ensure peace efforts succeeded. She just made it clear that if I were to vanish into the vacuum of space, she wouldn't mourn. One night I had enough. I stormed into the observation deck where she often meditated alone, silhouetted against the stars. "Why do you hate me?" I snapped, unable to hide the frustration in my voice. She didn't even flinch. "You don't deserve to know." "I think I do. If I wronged you, I want to make it right." She finally turned, those pale eyes burning like twin moons. "You didn't wrong me," she said. "You destroyed me." I stared at her, stunned. What are you talking about?" And then she walked away. My obsession with the answer began that night. I scoured diplomatic files, mission records, Earth's interstellar logs. Nothing. No trace of her name in any file I had access to before this mission. But one night when sleep wouldn't come, I remembered something strange. Years ago, I had been part of an exploratory mission in the Alaris cluster. A minor dispute over territorial rights had landed us in the middle of a skirmish between two alien clans. We barely escaped with our lives. Our shuttle crashed on a jungle moon called Tavax. We'd sent a distress beacon, but it took days for help to arrive. And during those days, there was a girl. She wasn't Valari, not exactly. Too young, too wild, but she looked similar. A hybrid, perhaps. She had stumbled across us in the jungle, her arm badly wounded, and despite our differences, she helped us survive. Taught us which fruit was safe, which creatures to avoid, and even built a rudimentary shelter. We never even got her name. She spoke only a few broken words of intergalactic standard, and we called her Rook, because of the way she perched on trees to scout the land. When rescue finally came, she vanished before we could bring her with us. I still remembered the sadness in her eyes. That memory struck me like a pulse grenade. Could it be? I went back to the Rix, the Valari archivist. Quietly, I asked him if Kalari had ever spent time on Tavax. He paled. You should not ask her of such things, he said. That time. It is the root of her scars. That was all the confirmation I needed. I approached Kalari again, this time not with confrontation but humility. I remember the jungle moon, I said softly. Tavax. There was a girl. Brave one. She helped us. Her breath caught but she said nothing. I didn't know it was you, I continued. We thought you were a local survivor. We had no idea. You left me behind, she whispered, her voice cracking for the first time since I'd known her. And then she told me the truth. She was Rook, born of a Valari mother and a human father, abandoned during a violent purge of impure bloodlines. Her mother died when she was still a child, and she survived alone in the jungles of Tavax. When we crashed, she thought her prayers had been answered, that we'd take her away, that she'd finally find a place she belonged. But she never told us who she was. And when we were rescued, she hid, thinking it would be best, that we'd come back for her. We never did. I waited for weeks, she said. Then months. When I finally found my way off-world, it was into a system that treated me like filth. I fought, bled, and killed to be more than the half-breed orphan girl no one wanted. Her voice was trembling with years of pain. And then I see you, praised as a diplomat. Hero. The man who left me to rot. Tears stung my eyes. Kalari, we didn't know. I swear to you, if I had known. He turned away. You should have known. You should have come back. After that night everything changed. She didn't forgive me, not at first. But she stopped attacking me. We worked together in silence, side by side. I watched her command with poise and power, every gesture carved from survival. And I began to understand that sometimes hatred isn't born from a single moment, but from years of silence. Years of being forgotten. I tried to make amends. Not with words but actions. I petitioned the Earth Council to formally recognize her for her work on Tavax. I worked to establish a new diplomatic bridge between the Valari Dominion and Earth, one that honored the mixed heritage of people like her. Slowly she softened. Not much. But sometimes I'd catch her looking at me without the fire in her eyes. Just a quiet sadness. One day, as we stood on a balcony watching the twin suns rise over Cyralis 9, she finally spoke. You didn't destroy me, human, she said quietly. But you were the spark that lit the fire. I'm sorry. I know. She turned and looked me in the eye. I don't hate you anymore. But I'll never forget. And I nodded. That was enough. We went on to sign the first cross-species alliance between Earth and the Valari, a treaty still studied in diplomacy halls to this day. She refused every medal, every title. Instead, she went to Tavax, rebuilt the jungle villages, and made it a haven for orphans of war. Alien, human, and everything in between. I visit sometimes. And every time, she calls me by the name she gave me back in the jungle. Ash, after the trees that burned but grew again. Because in the end we both did.